Hi friends, this is your Python partner here. So now we are just going to see while loop. So we have already seen if loop and for loop, and now it's time to see while loop. So while loop runs the program as long as or for a while a certain condition is true. Okay, so for example, if you are just going to take the value I is equal to 0 and while I is less than or equal to 100, we have to print I and I is equal to I plus 1. So what actually is happening here, first we are initiating the value of I to 0, and once when the program enters into this while loop, the I is going to be checked in this conditional test. So I is less than or equal to 100. Of course, the value of I is 0 now. It is very well less than or equal to 100. That is, in sense, it satisfies this condition, and in sense it enters into this while loop and it is going to print that I value, that is 0, and enters the next line where the value of I is added to 1. So now the value of I is 1. Again it goes to the start of the while loop. As there is no other lines further, it checks the condition now. The value of I is 1 after we incremented it. So 1 less than or equal to 100. The condition satisfies, and again it enters inside the loop and print the value 1 to the screen. Then increments the value of 1 by adding 1 to it, and now the value of I is 2. And it again goes back to the loop and checks the condition. Of course, 2 is completely satisfying the conditional test of less than or equal to 100, and it again prints the value, and as well they increments the value of I to 3, and this goes on till the condition fails. So now after running for this many times, like 4, 5, 6, 7 and all, and now the value of I is 100. Okay, we have reached the value of I is 100, and now once again after incrementing from 99 to 100, this is going back to that while loop once again. Okay, and of course 100 is equal to 100. That means 100 less than or equal to 100. The condition is satisfied and it is printing 100 to the screen. And now when the value of I is incremented with 1, the value of I now is 101. And when now the program goes back to the loop and checking the condition, 101 doesn't satisfy the condition less than or equal to 100. So of course the test fails and the program now comes out of the loop. So this is how the while loop works. It runs as long as the conditional test is satisfied. So it's quite useful. Think of a gaming scenario where the game runs as long as we want it to. So that could be done here. So now we have seen that a while loop runs with checking a single condition, and the program runs or stops entirely with the state of that one single conditional test. Now what if we have, or there could be many events or situations could happen that needs our programs to stop running, like so in order to achieve this, we have a variable called flag. Okay, so it acts as a signal indicating that our programs to run or to quit. Okay, so for understanding this flag variable, let's take an example. Active is equal to true, and of course this active is the flag variable, and we have initiated it to true at first, and the value I is equal to 1. We are initiating the value of I here, and now the program is entering into while loop like active. So in sense, while active is true, this is the meaning. Okay, if active is true, of course active is true, now it enters inside the while loop. So we are just going to print the value of I. So now what is the value of I? Of course it is 1. So 1 will be printed to the screen, and it enters to the second line. So I is equal to I plus 1. Of course now the value of I is incremented to 2. And the second line, if I equal to 5, no, I is not equal to 5. So this will not be executed. Again the loop will go to the start. Again it will check. Of course active is still true, and it will print the value 2. And again it will increment the value of I, that is I is equal to I plus 1. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So of course again this if loop will not be executed because the value of I is 3, but here the if loop needs the value of 5, right? So it won't be executed. Again the loop will go to the starting and it will check. Of course active is still true, and now it will print the value of 3 and it will increment. So after printing 4 also, now once when we enter into this I is equal to I plus 1, now our value is 5. Okay, so now the line, if equal to 5 will be executed because now the I value is reached 5. So after this, the if block will be completely executed. In that, I have given active equal to false. In sense, this flag variable we have just stopped it. Okay, using this false. By setting it to false, we have entirely stopped this thing. And now once when the program goes back to the starting of this loop to check the status of this flag variable active, it is false. So then the program completely comes out of the loop, and here the output is like 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have given a condition to stop our program from running. So that thing happens when our I value reaches 5. So obviously we'll get the output from 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is it. Okay, so now we are just going to see break statement. It is also very useful. So here with the use of break statement, we can really control the flow of program. Like we can just execute the code as we want. Okay, so take that same example. Okay, I'm just going to use the same example here. So active is equal to true, I is equal to 1, and of course we are just entering into the while loop. While active, in sense if active is equal to true, that is what is going to be checked here, and we are just entering into that print of I. Of course we'll get our 1 to the output screen, then the value of I will be incremented to 2, then it is again checking if I equal to 5, but it is not 5 now, it is just 2. So this if block will not be executed, it will go back to the loop and it will check. So this continues till our value of I reaches 5. So once when the value of I reaches 5, it enters into this if loop, right? So if I equal to 5 is satisfied, so it will witness the break statement here. What will happen? It completely, the program will exit out of the loop. And see, our output is 1, 2, 3 and 4 because after 5 a break statement is given so that it will come out of that loop. So that's it. So like break statement, we have another one here. So it's continue. Okay, so now rather than entirely exiting out of the loop, we can use continue to get back to the beginning of the loop based on the result of the conditional test. Okay. So we have taken an example here. So at first the flag variable named active is set to true, and as well I is assigned the value 1. Then it enters the while loop, it checks the flag variable, then as the flag variable is true, it enters inside the loop, prints the value of I. Here it is now 1. Then we are entering into next line, incrementing the value by adding 1 to it. So now the I value is 2. And it enters the next line, and if condition is satisfied, as the value of I now is 2, then the if block is executed. As I have given continue, so the program runs to the starting of the loop by retaining the value of I as 2. Okay, now again the while loop condition is satisfied, and so it enters inside the loop and print the value of I. Now it is 2. Then increments the value to 3 by adding 1. Then the first if condition now fails because as after I value reached to 3, break statement took the program control out of the loop, means it exited the loop. So that's it happens. Okay, so with continue you can just go back to the starting of the loop, but if it is going to encounter a break statement, you are just going to get entirely out of the loop. So keep this in mind and use appropriately. Now comes an important part in while loop, how to avoid the infinite loop. So what is infinite loop? Of course, we can see that using an example here. So for that, I have taken a value of I is equal to 0, and while I have given a condition I less than 5, and I am just going to print a message, that is be happy. Okay, so once when we run this program, what will happen? The value of I is 0 and it is as well, it is less than 5. So the while loop is satisfied and your output screen will be flooded with be happy messages because we haven't included any sort of lines or operations to stop our loop from running. So if we have to see, to be precise, we have entered into an infinite loop. So forever your program is going to just run this thing like be happy, be happy, be happy, as program is commanding you to be always happy. So that's it. Now what would you do? Loop, of course you have to press Ctrl+C. If not, just close the output terminal. Okay, that would be fine. Now how to correct this infinite loop? So just include a small line. Here in this example we can include, after printing be happy, we can just include I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, so once when now the program enters into this loop, like now once when we run this program, I is equal to 0, it enters into while loop, and 0 is less than 5, of course I is less than 5, and it prints this be happy, and once again is code checking that condition of while loop. So after incrementing the value, right, I is equal to I plus 1, now it is 1, so 1 is less than 5, of course it prints be happy. Once again it increments the value of I, now it is 2, once again it will check the while loop, of course 2 is less than 5, it will print happy, it will print be happy. Once again it will increment the value of I to 3. So this happens till 4. So once when the value of I becomes 5, it is not less than 5, right? So our while loop stops running. So we can see only 5 be happy messages for 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is it. Okay, so always remember your while loop can run forever as you want, or unless if you really doesn't provide a condition to stop that program, you will enter into an infinite loop. Always remember the break statement is going to help you to exit out of the loop entirely. Okay, it won't say any other lines after that break statement. Completely you're going to come out of that loop, and with continue you are just going to continue to the beginning of the loop and start doing once again. Okay, so always remember the small logic behind this and use it appropriately. So I hope you really understand this. Try writing some small programs and see how it is working. And of course, intentionally you write infinite loop and see how it is working, and do have fun with programming. So just play around with this for a while. So that's it, friends. I hope you really understand this. So yes, join me in this journey of learning. Let's make this journey more interesting. Bye-bye and take care.